Today, Q's latest post call out McCain and ISIS. Plus, we get a message from Q Plus telling us be careful who to follow. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off every episode by saying thank you to every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please come here, hit the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified as soon as these videos get posted, because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, jumping right into the latest Q posts. We have a lot to cover here, but we're going to get through it really fast, and we're going to cover each and everything in detail. So first, it points us to this, right? This is a tweet from Donald Trump, and the tweet says, "The 5 most wanted leaders of ISIS were just captured." So this is interesting. Q goes on to say, names, no-name previous meetings, panic, discussions of death/funeral, medical or escape. Now comes the pain, Q. So obviously what Q is talking about is the previous post where we've been shown by Q his meetings with the head of ISIS here. Good guys. I mean, I'm saying that sarcastically. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, excuse me. And here he is having a meeting with them in what we suppose is Syria, where you have Bakr al-Baghdadi and other people who are associated with terrorist organizations, as well as this guy here, who I believe is part of the Syrian Emergency Task Force. So that's just something very interesting. And we're going to go through that in a little bit more detail, going over and reviewing what John McCain was doing. But it says, is he in a panic? I mean, is the question I think that's being asked here. And it's talking about how we've all seen in the news lately, there's been discussions that, McCain doesn't want Trump at his funeral, President Trump at his funeral, and McCain is dealing with this tumor in his head and having to undergo more surgeries and processes. So this is just Q giving us a heads up saying this is what he's going to use in order to escape being indicted, I think, in my opinion. Now, granted, this is all my opinion, and I'd like to hear what you guys have to think. So why don't you leave your comments down in the comment section, and we can discuss what the actual meanings could be here. But pointing to a few things that were interesting from the previous post, here's him with a news anchor. And what was very fascinating is when I read this story here talking about how we caught the terrorists. Now, how did we catch them? Well, we caught them by luring them with one of the top ISIS lieutenant's cell phone and using a app called Telegram, which is an encrypted messaging platform. Now, what they did was they captured a high-ranking lieutenant named Ismail al-Itawi, and they used his phone to contact 4 other commanding officers in ISIS ranks to draw them into Iraq, where they were picked up by U.S. forces, among other, I'm not sure if there are other forces involved yet. But I can tell you that this is just pretty incredible what they did here. Reading through this article, there's some interesting things that are pointed out about how one of the people who was picked up was actually Bakr al-Baghdadi's personal assistant, it would seem. And that is very interesting. Even though Baghdadi himself was not captured, I wonder if McCain could let us know where Baghdadi is, given that he's standing right behind him here in this picture that was released on the Q boards. Now, going into the connections of all of these individuals, first you have to understand exactly who everyone is in these pictures. And this was a post that was given by Q here, that was referenced by Q here, talking about how you have Abu Musa, the ISIS press officer, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is the head of ISIS, Senator McCain, he's here, Mohammed Noor, Syrian terrorist, and Muaz Mustafa, who I was talking about here, who's the Syrian Emergency Task Force. Now, a little about him, he's noted here in these pictures being seen with this guy, Romeo Dallaire, who is a former Canadian senator, and he was the guy in charge of the UN peace forces that were in Rwanda trying to stop the genocide unsuccessfully in the 90s. So this guy's got a sordid past. You can go look up his information. But McCain's been saying a lot about reflecting on the end of his life and what he wants everyone to remember about him. And all you have to do to get an idea of what is his motivation right now, it's this, obviously, in my opinion, this is my opinion, but he's got this big HBO documentary coming out, and he's tweeting about it, and it's just like the Q boards are telling us a lot of information about him that is very disturbing if found to be true. So obviously, this is, in my opinion, again, disinformation coming out from this documentary, but we'll have to wait and see what it is. And if you guys have any thoughts, contribute your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll take that into consideration. You guys can, kick it around each other, kick the can around, and see what sounds like it's the closest to the reality. But then Q gives us this, and this is a tweet by a person named S. Rafai. And it seems that I've looked through his tweet. He looks like he's posting from Syria. He's covering the war, and he seems to be a source in there. But this is him saying that's a low blow to an old friend. And it's Iran confirms that they met with John Kerry in New York. Now, why would that be a low blow to John Kerry just by Iran confirming that they met with him? Well, obviously, if he was doing it as a shadow diplomacy move, that would be the low blow, is exposing the fact that they were meeting behind closed doors in New York in order to obviously lobby on behalf of keeping the Iran deal going and subverting the American system, where you have a president who's in charge of negotiating all of our diplomatic relations overseas, and you have unelected officials going around acting like they're still elected and that they still can control and influence policies and dictate what we will and won't do, which is completely unacceptable in my view. So that's what this is. And then we have an interesting one. We have a message here from Q+, and it's talking about what we talked about in a previous video, talking about this interesting dynamic that Q's bringing attention to and pointing out. Now, we'll read right through it, and then we'll go back and talk about it. So it says, Patriot. 1, a person who loves, supports, and defends his or her country and its interests with devotion. 2, a person who regards himself or herself as a defender, especially of individual rights, against presumed interference by the federal government. Traitor. 1, a person who believes or who betrays another, a cause, or any trust. And Q says focus here in Killbox. 2, a person who commits treason by betraying his or her country. They want you divided you are weak, together you are strong. There was no attempt to divide. There was, however, a strategic move to reveal. Be careful who you follow, in Killbox, in brackets. Incorrect message translated, brackets, Killbox, past Audis. Correction made. No names mentioned. They revealed themselves. Fake and false. Killbox, incorrect. Decodes removed, resolved. Fake and false claims of an unknown, quote unquote, allowed access to classified sealed indictments removed, resolved. Do not fall victim to con artists. Use logic. Stay on point. This is not about a single person. This is not about fame, followers, or profiteering. We the people, we the people, we the people. There will come a time they will not be safe walking down the street. We will not be held hostage. Sky event. Where we go one, we go all. Q+. All right, and then Q went over onto the 8chan board, and I'm just going to cover this really quickly, and he posted this picture with this name. Now, this is a picture, obviously, for those of you who don't know, I had to obviously go look it up, so it's not too obvious, but it is a hotel in Singapore that is called the Marina Bay Sands, and it has this interesting top deck, and it's 3 buildings connected. Now, this is, a lot of people are speculating on the boards and in both 8chan and Reddit that this is going to be the place where they're going to hold the North Korea talks, because Trump announced today on his Twitter, for those of you who don't know or haven't been following his Twitter, that the highly anticipated meeting between Kim Jong-un and myself will take place in Singapore on June 12th, We will both try to make it a very special moment for world peace. So that's what this is referring to. And the name of the doc is NK Sing Sec. And I think that that's referring to North Korea, Singapore secured. Maybe they've secured the facility that they're going to use for the meeting. That would be very interesting. Now we're going to go back to this post and we're going to decode and kind of just go through what my opinion is. And then we'll wait to hear what you guys think in the comments, because that's really what this whole channel is about. So first, it gives us a definition of a patriot and definition of a traitor. And both of those are important to keep in mind when you're doing this kind of stuff, because first of all, I consider myself a patriot, right? And I love and support and defend my country with devotion. And I would like to consider myself a proponent of protecting individual rights and keeping the federal government, in check by making sure that we shine a light on anything that's going on there. And a person who is a traitor are the people who we're going to be talking about here, I think, that Q's referencing. Those who are going on shilling, trolling, doing other work to undermine the Q phenomena, which is basically just a dissemination of information to the public. Now, not many people have even heard of Q to this point, but there's already several people out there who are working against. And I have a theory about what this is referring to, but you guys let me know what you think. And it's talking about us to focus on this one. So I think that's interesting, about a person who betrays another cause or any trust. And I think the key one is the any trust there. And I think somebody who is close to Q, but it was not really necessarily given outside comms, betrayed a trust that was set, and Q had to resolve it, and that's what he was calling out there. And I think it's really important to understand that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that none of us really can know. So we have to keep that in mind and at the forefront of our mind when we make basically decoding when we decode these messages that are put here. But this is certainly something that's interesting. Now he says they want you divided. Divided you are weak. Together you are strong. There was no attempt to divide. There was, however, a strategic move to reveal. And he's referring back to the "be careful who you follow" post. And for those of you who don't know, there was a post he put up a while ago where he explained that certain people were not trustworthy. And a lot of other people decoded that to mean Jerome Corsi. Now, I'm not here saying either positive or negative about Jerome, because Dr. Jerome Corsi is his own man, and I have watched his work. I'm aware of it. I don't necessarily follow it on a regular basis. And I can tell you that his interpretations of recent have been questionable, but that doesn't mean necessarily that he's working as a bad actor. What it does mean, however, is that there is some sort of disconnect between his ability to decode. Maybe he's just really busy, but I don't know. A lot of people are just making this connection between him, Alex Jones, and the Patriots Soapbox channel. I'm not sure that that's the correct. I think what Q is saying here, incorrect message translated past Otis. So I think the message was taken incorrectly. So that could mean they were talking about somebody else, but that does also leave it also leaves open the possibility that they were talking about Dr. Corsi as well. I want to hear what you guys have to think in the comments, because I'm almost at a loss in some of these, in some regard for these, because I can't really make a direct connection between who's being referenced. But I can tell you right now that it is very, very interesting to note that Q is giving us this post and telling us that no names were mentioned and that the correction was made. And it's saying that they revealed themselves. They had fake and false, incorrect decodes removed and resolved. I think it says fake, and I think this is the incorrect statement that Q is saying, that the fake and false decodes removed, resolved. That was incorrect. I think that they said that. And then they said fake and false claims of quote unquote an unknown allowed access to classified sealed indictments removed, resolved. So somebody who was making claims that the decodes were removed and or that their decodes were removed maybe, and that they had an unknown source for access to classified sealed indictments. Whoever's saying that out there, you guys let me know in the comments, because I don't know who's making these claims, but I know Q's mentioning, or he's talking about something specific. It may not be one single person, but it may be a group of people, and it is certainly being referenced in these posts for a reason. So we have to keep aware of that. And if you guys have any thoughts or contributions on who you think he's referring to, or Q is referring to in this, because this is Q Plus talking to us. But it says, do not fall victim to con artists. And of course, we all have to be aware of who we listen to and what they do and how they, report them. I hope I'm doing a good job. I don't proclaim to have all the answers, but I do work hard to tell you guys exactly what the posts are each and every day. And then we create a dialogue together here where we just discuss what they could possibly mean. And we continue this every single day, following it. And I do this 7 days a week, following the Q posts and following other breaking news and bringing it to you guys, things that the mainstream media just aren't covering. So if there are other con artists out there, we have to be if there are other people who are con artists out there, we have to be aware of them and make sure that they are shown for what they are. But for now, Q wants us to just use our logic, which is pretty simple and plain speak for we have to just depend on our own logical minds to put together a lot of this information. And people who are presenting it to you may also have ulterior motives. Now, I try to stay as objective as possible, even though my opinion does seep in here and there. I'm pretty sure you guys know where that is and are not being swayed one way or the other, because I have a great, healthy debate in every single comment section at the end of each one of these videos. So that is something I would love your help on, to figure out what all this really means and who is he talking about, and what exact group of people is he talking about. But it says this is not about a single person. This is not about fame, followers, or profiteering. We the people, we the people, we the people. So I think he's obviously just saying what's fairly obvious right there, is that it's not about one person. This is going on between a group of people. That's my interpretation. And it says it's not about fame, followers, or profiteering. So a lot of people who are making excessive amounts of money off of this movement are definitely those who would fall into that category. I post YouTube, and I have never, had it a secret that I am compensated for making these videos through monetization, but that's it. And I do this 24/7, 365. So I'm definitely in it for the long haul. And I do it because the main reason I do all this is because I love God. So I get to share his message. And I also love my country, and I'm a patriot. So I certainly am here working for you guys and we the people. So this is definitely interesting to see, though, if you look at other people who are out there working this in much larger scales and making an incredible, vast amount of money off it. And then Q said in the last post they were thinking that they were going to do this, and then they just divert right into mainstream. So we'll have to wait and see exactly who Q's talking about. But I want you guys' help. Go down and leave your comments. Let me know what you think, because this is going to be a great opportunity to get some ideas kicked around about what or who this is actually referring to. So I appreciate in advance for all you guys coming down and doing that. Now, it says, there will come a time they will not be safe walking down the street. And I think that's wonderfully put. It's always referring to those who are working against us, the clowns and others in the deep state, the cabal, all of that. They will not be able to walk down the street because they will be identified for who they are as individuals. And once that is put out there, there's no putting that back in the box. You can't close Pandora's box once it's open, and that's why they will not be able to walk down the street. But it says, we will not be held hostage, Sky event. Now, that's why I think that with this building in Singapore, the North Korea, Singapore security name for the file, the Sky event connection, there's going to be an event on top of this building. And the we will not be held hostage goes to what I've talked about before, where, there's certain factions inside of our government, obviously, who are in favor of a policy of giving countries like Iran and North Korea nuclear weapons in order to create an existential threat to the United States. Now, this is just my opinion. A lot of people have chosen to disagree with me, and I completely respect your decision to disagree. But my opinion is that that's what Q refers to when he says something like, we will not be held hostage, is that, you're basically holding the whole world hostage, but then you're holding individually the administration and tying its hands and keeping it from doing things that could, bring world peace, which was the hope. But we're still a long way from that. So we'll have to stick around and see what happens next. Where we go, one we go all. That's obviously what we know is true. We all do this together here. And it says Q plus. All right. So this was a message from Q plus, again, outlining the definition of a patriot and a traitor and talking about certain things that are very, very noteworthy and need to be discussed. So I want to hear what you guys have to think in the comments. But that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Again, if you're looking for a way to contribute to the channel, the easiest way, and it helps me out big time, is if you have not hit that subscribe button, please come here and click the subscribe button. Again, if you are looking for another way to contribute, please, my favorite way is for you guys to go down, scroll down at the end of this video, go and leave your comments. We try our best to have our own little version of a QAnon research board in the comments section here, where we discuss the latest posts from Q and what their meanings could actually be. There's a lot of great, thoughtful, insightful people down there, but I guarantee if you go down there, even if you can't comment and you just read through them, you're going to learn something you didn't know previous to this episode. So that's definitely something you should go do. And again, if you're looking to help the channel in another way, come over here to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. You can search Just Informed Talk, and you can make a donation and become a patron here. So it really helps me out, and I appreciate all the support that you guys are giving me over here to keep this channel up and running. Because like I said, I do this for a living. I do this every day, and I'm totally devoted to getting you guys this information and doing what we're about to cover next, and that is spreading the word of God. So I want you all to note that in these troubled times that we have, it's very important to rely on God first. What I do on this channel, when I decode the Q post, that's very much secondary to what the main purpose that I've found for this channel is. And that is to give you guys the word of God. And because when I found myself in a position to have a bigger platform, I decided that I would make a note to devote every episode to the Lord and sharing a bit of God's word, so that you guys could find some peace in your heart, or you could find some new connection to God that you hadn't seen, or reconnect if you haven't been connected lately. And I just want to thank every single one of you who stick around and continue to watch these episodes and share your prayers and share your thoughts and share your support, because it's an honor and a privilege to be able to bring you guys this information. And then it's truly an honor to give you guys the word of God. And that, to me, is what is most important. So today, we're going to talk about how we build our confidence in troubled times, and how we build ourselves up against the forces out there that are trying to take us down. So that's going to be found here in Psalm 3. And if you guys don't know, it's the book of Psalm, chapter 3. And it goes, Lord, how my foes increase. There are many who attack me. Many say about me, there is no help for him in God. But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory in the one who lifts up my head. I cry aloud to the Lord, and he answers me from his holy mountain. I lie down and sleep. I wake again because the Lord sustains me. I am not afraid of the thousands of people who have taken their stand against me on every side. Rise up, Lord, save me, my God. You strike all my enemies on the cheek. You break the teeth of the wicked. Salvation belongs to the Lord. May your blessing be on your people. And I hope that those words of God and those words of light speak to you. I hope that they reach out to you and tell you what we're dealing with here, but they steady your confidence in yourself and your connection to God. Because first we must love God. First we must seek God's wisdom and guidance every day. Because if we do that every day, then we know that we will be successful in life. And everything that's going on with Q is important for us to understand and to know and to bring a light where Q wants us to shine a light. But more importantly, we have to seek God's wisdom to know what light or where the light needs to be shined. So without God, none of this is going to ever be possible. So please, by all means, everyone out there, just say a little prayer, open your heart up to God, let that light come in, and then let yourself become the light to shine out into the world. Because once you become that light, you'll see that the blessings will come flooding in. There will be many, and the Lord will have touched your life in a way that everyone can see. And when everybody can see it, then they're more likely to come to God and seek his guidance and love and wisdom. So that's what we want. That's the whole point of everything that we are about here at Just Informed Talk. So I want to thank everyone for watching. But that's going to be it for this episode. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, it helps me out a lot. Come here, click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you all for watching. This has been Just Informed Talk. I'm Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.